I see what ho, chaps and chabbits, game chap and birdie here.
Yeah.
Yes, fellows, and I dare say we have some exciting news here pertaining to Super Smash Bros. Newcomers, don't we, old chap?
We most certainly do, old chap, yes indeed. You see, it would seem that the full movesets of the new characters Lucina, Captain Falcon and Robin have been revealed.
They have, old boy. In a recent issue of Famitsu, the Japanese gaming magazine, the various movesets of these characters were revealed, and to start with the veteran, it seems Captain Falcon's moveset in the new Super Smash Bros. Game will be quite similar to his previous outing in Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Most certainly, Falcon Punch, the knee, everything else, it all seems to be there.
That's right, all of his movesets are present and intact. Indeed, he has his Raptor Boost, Falcon Dive, Falcon Kick, and of course, reversible Falcon Punch. So once more, you will be able to do 180 degree and 360 degree Falcon Punches to catch your opponent off guard, it seems.
Ah, so just like Brawl.
That's right, old boy, a very, very handy move. If you ask me, that move was underrated, old chap.
Oh, possibly.
There we are. What about Lucina, old boy?
Well, Lucina has exactly the same set of moves as Marth, apart from the power is set across the whole of the sword rather than just a tip like Marth.
That's right, of course. Whereas Marth has his tipper attack, Lucina can of course issue constant damage no matter where the sword strikes, so perhaps more suited to newcomers there. And also, interestingly, she has both a mask taunt that lets her put on and take off her mask, and she can also start with the mask equipped. So if you prefer her mask look, you can of course use that in your fights, which I dare say is quite exciting. Be careful of spoilers though, quite spoilerific I say.
Almost certainly with the mask off.
Well indeed, but anyway, there you are, fellows. Now of course the one we've been waiting for, Robin, or the player avatar in Fire Emblem Awakening. His moves have been comprehensively detailed, and it seems they are as follows. His forward smash, or forward smash attack, that uses his Levin sword, which presumably has a thunder effect, but of course the Levin sword can only be used a certain number of times. After that it'll break, as it were, you run out of uses, and he will switch over to the backup bronze sword until the original Levin sword has regenerated. So indeed, there's a bit of tactics going on there, I think.
Ah yes, an interesting twist of tactics, as you say, with the sword wearing out and breaking, as it were. Now I understand he also has a forward air attack.
That's right, old boy. His forward aerial again, making use of the Levin sword, but if it breaks, it's back to the standard bronze sword, which does less damage, you'll see.
Ah, so you have to be careful with that sword, I suppose.
That's right, old boy. Now, as regards his tome-based attacks, of course, there was perhaps some confusion there because he has a large number of tomes all drawn from Fire Emblem Awakening. Now, it seems his stand B attack, or neutral B, is Thunder. Now, rather like Samus and Donkey Kong, this is a chargeable attack, and if you break off the charging midway through using the shield button, he will retain the charge. Now, the longer you charge the move, the more powerful the resulting attack will be, varying from Thunder to L Thunder to Arc Thunder, and finally the mighty Thoron.
Ah, so not just a matter of pressing a button here, but once again using the buttons and timing strategically.
That's right, very true to the tactician class from that game. Then of course he has a down B attack, which is based on Nosferatu. In fact, it is Nosferatu. Now that is a health draining attack, which means if your opponent is captured inside the purple cloud of gas, as it were, or something like that, they will lose health, but Robin's health will recover.
No, he's building quite a set of moves up here.
That's right, of course, all based on that previous Fire Emblem game, as I say, and quite true to the original. And also, interestingly, if you hit the opponent from the back with that attack, the amount of health you get is actually larger. So once more, very much allowing for tactics and strategy there in gameplay.
Yes, a bit like sneaking up on him, etc.
Well indeed, by getting behind the foe, and certainly a priority being applied there. Certainly encouraging tactics in getting behind the foe. Now as for his up B attack, that is Elrond, which of course fires those green arc-shaped discs at the foe.
Yes.
And this of course also gives him a bit of an air boost, so it can be used as a recovery move, but be very careful using that one, because if you run out of uses of that tone, he will not fire the projectiles, and of course he won't get the jump boost, so that could mean life or death if it's run out.
Most certainly, so a lot to remember with this character, a lot to consider when you're in the fight.
Well indeed, he certainly has a bit of elements there, I think, of Olimar and Snake from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, with very much tactics coming into play. And last but not least, Arc Fire is his side B. That one doesn't charge up, it's just Arc Fire, but of course it's a projectile that hurtles down at the foe. So it's rather interesting in that it also generates a pillar of fire which deals splash damage to any characters in the vicinity. And once more, again, that can break, so watch out, I say.
Ah, so a lot of Fire Emblem things going on there.
So it seems indeed, fellows, Nintendo have given quite a treat to Fire Emblem Emblem fans. And of course, Captain Falcon is returning intact with his moves present from the previous game. There don't seem to be too many changes there.
Most certainly, and don't forget Lucina as well. Even though she's rather like Mars, it's still a different character.
Yes, indeed, but Mr. Sakurai, of course, has said she'll have a separate slot despite being almost exactly the same, and the reason for that is, of course, that her moves have a slight variation, so stats will be tracked separately.
Yeah.
But there you are, videos. I dare say some most interesting news pertaining to movesets and whatnot, you know.
Most certainly is.
Yes, indeed, do stay tuned for more Nintendo and Super Smash Bros. News, I say. We look forward to seeing you again. Until then...